Hello matcha lovers and cafe owners. In today's video clip, I am going to recreate your favorite iced coffee bestsellers, but this time we are going to make use of matcha. So matcha is so popular these days, and if you don't have any matcha in your menu just yet, this is the best time to start adding matcha to your menu. It is healthier and it's also a substitute for coffee. This is the reason why I think it should be worthwhile making all those iced coffee bestsellers, but making them using matcha. So 5 classic iced coffee bestsellers, Americano, I'm going to call it clear matcha or Americana. And then we're going to make a cappuccino like matcha. I'm going to call it matchachino, white chocolate matcha latte. We're going to make caramel macchiato, and finally matcha Spanish latte. I usually prepare matcha on a daily basis, and what I have is a tray full of my goodies, the tools that I use for my matcha. If you have a copy of my book, the recipes that I'm going to show you here today will be quite different from the recipes in my book. The difference is that instead of using water to dissolve my matcha, I'm going to use milk, room temperature or cold milk, to dissolve my matcha. So this is going to be cold brew matcha. Now the reason behind using milk as opposed to using water to dissolve my matcha is to make the resulting mix creamier, richer, and possibly tastier. For today's recipes, I'm going to make them in 16 ounces or 500 milliliters cups. Now, to make matcha the proper way, you have to do it using the ceremonial process. If you are going to open a matcha bar, then I would suggest you use the all ceremonial process. But if you have a cafe where matcha is just one item in your menu, then you can use other methods, and some of them you can check in the video link above. Today it is going to be a ceremonial process, and I'm going to make them premium matcha. This time I'm going to show you what are the tools that you need. So first you need your matcha bowl. So I would suggest that you get a wide rimmed, a little bit deep bowl here, and this is perfect, especially if you get the one with a spout. So when you pour it into your glass, it is not all over the place. Okay, so it's all channeled into that spout. Next, we're going to need a matcha whisk, and of course you need your matcha. I would suggest that you use 100% pure matcha. Here I'm using my own brand, which is Ritual. And then I'm going to need a strainer because, as you all know, matcha is not powder, they are ground leaves. And I always use a nut here, which is useful when I strain my matcha into my bowl. I would also suggest that you have 2 cups here. So what are these cups for? One is to keep your strainer. This will be a dry cup, and also your scoop or spoon. And then one of the cups, I would suggest that you put warm water, and that every time after you whisk your matcha, you can rinse your matcha with care before you put it back in the stand. Because everything has to be consistent, we are going to make use of a scale. So let's start with our first drink, which is matcha Americana or clear matcha. This is the simplest iced matcha to make. Matcha, optional sweetener, and water. For a 16-ounce cup, I use 2.5 grams of pure matcha. Sift the matcha into your bowl using your strainer. Add sweetener of your choice. Now this is entirely optional. I am using homemade sugar syrup here. Next is the water. For matcha to retain its natural benefits and taste, the temperature of the water is critical. I find 80 degrees Celsius as the best temperature. Different shops use different water temperatures, so go ahead and experiment with your matcha. For this, I need 120 ml or 4 ounces of water. To whisk, start with a circular motion to gather the matcha powder within the bowl. Then whisk fast but steady, up and down motion, barely touching the bottom of the bowl. Stop when the matcha powder is fully mixed in. You should be able to get a beautiful frothy top. Next, prepare your serving cup. Fill it up with ice, but it does not have to be full. Pour your whisked matcha and serve. Iced matcha green tea. Next drink it is iced matchachino. For this I am going to use more matcha. I'm going to need 5 grams of my pure matcha. To some this is quite a lot, but if you're making this for commercial purpose, you really have to give them the best tasting matchachino that you can make. Sift the matcha into your bowl using your strainer and the nut to make it simpler. This time I'm going to use milk to dissolve my matcha. I need a total of about 120 to 150 ml of milk. You can split it into two. Place half the milk into the bowl and then whisk. And then add the rest of the milk and the sweetener of choice. In this case, I'm using plain sugar syrup. Whisk until well combined. Because we're going to top it up with milk foam, prepare your milk foam. Into your serving cup, add the ice and pour your matcha mix over. Top it up with your milk foam and sprinkles of matcha powder. Ice matcha chino. Next, we are going to make iced white chocolate matcha latte. Same thing, I'm going to use 5 grams of my pure matcha. Sift into your bowl. Add the milk. This time I'm going to use the full 120 ml. Add your white chocolate syrup, about 15 ml. Whisk until well combined. Make sure that the matcha is fully incorporated. Prepare your serving cup, add ice and pour your matcha mix with white chocolate over. Top it up with milk foam, sprinkles of matcha powder on top, and this is your iced white chocolate matcha latte. Next drink, we are going to make iced matcha Spanish latte. We need the same amount of matcha, 5 grams of pure matcha, into your bowl. Sift using your strainer, pour the milk over. I'm going to use 120 to 150 ml of milk. Whisk until fully combined. Again, start with a circular motion to gather the matcha into the bowl and then whisk up and down. Because this is Spanish latte, I'm going to add about 15 grams of my sweetened condensed milk. Whisk to combine the condensed milk and the milk. Prepare your serving cup, add ice, and pour your matcha Spanish latte over. Top it up with milk foam and sprinkles of matcha powder on top. And this is your iced matcha Spanish latte. Final drink, we're going to make iced matcha caramel macchiato. 5 grams of pure matcha into your bowl. Sift the matcha using your strainer. Add your milk. I'm going to use only half the proportion of the milk. Add vanilla syrup, about 10 to 15 grams depending on how sweet you'd like it to be. And then whisk again until everything is well combined. Into your serving cup, add the ice and pour your vanilla matcha over. Top it up with milk foam and decorate with caramel sauce on top. And this is your iced matcha caramel macchiato. Well, there you go, easy enough for you to make. And if you do have a cafe, the ingredients are all there in your shop, so it's not difficult for you to add these extra items on your menu. And all of them are smashingly delicious. If you have any questions at all about any of these recipes, do let me know, and make sure that you also check out all my other recipes or methods of preparing matcha. Take your pick. It's not a one-size-fits-all recipe, so it really depends on personal preferences. I'll see you again for more of these video tutorials. In the meantime, stay safe, take care. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.